meadow sky. Friday night's calling and the towns go quiet. From Doug Shaw Memorial to John McKissick Field, Carolina football, it's the heart we feel. Pickup trucks line up, tailgates in a row, Hyde Stadium's rocking, Abbeville's ready to go. The Sumter Gamecocks charge, Gaffney's standing tall, every small town's dreaming neath the lights of fall. Four-quarter Friday, where the heartbeats pound, Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. In Gilbert, America, the bleachers fill with pride. Cheerleaders shout, the band's playing, no one's staying inside. The boys in pads hit hard, chasing that old dream. Under stadium lights, it's more than just a team. Mamas clutch their programs, daddies yell the calls, grandpas talk of legends in these hallowed football halls. From the low country marshes to the upstate's clay, four-quarter Friday lights the Carolina way. Four-quarter Friday, where the heartbeats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. Shaw's roar to McKissick's sacred ground. Hot stadium's fire, you can feel the sound. Sumter Gamecocks fly, Gaffney holds a line, J-Mo run the dang ball, we're screaming for a sign. Rivalries burn bright, the clock's ticking down. On four-quarter Friday, we're the talk of town. When the whistle blows and the scoreboard fades away, the lessons from the field guide us every day. Teamwork, grit, and pride, it's more than just a score. Carolina football's what we're fighting for. From the PD rivers to the upstate's misty hills, four-quarter Friday gives our hearts a thrill. Four-quarter Friday, where the heartbeats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. So here's to the Palmetto boys, giving it their all on a four-quarter Friday. South Carolina stands tall.
Welcome to Four-Quarter Friday, part of the Chief Sports Network. Talking South Carolina high school sports every Friday morning, hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall. With weekly appearances from coaches, players, and media around the state. Let's go! Kick off the first quarter. Here's Justin and Steve. Happy Friday.
There's been accolades all year long, individual accolades that I thought some of you should have got. You didn't get it because people vote on it. Sometimes haters vote on it. Some people don't like to see people succeed. You always got to love to see your neighbor and your brother succeed. But guess what? There ain't nobody voting on this game tonight. There ain't nobody voting on it. You make the band play, you make the crowd go loud, you make the visitor side scoreboard keep turning.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
Glory to God, man. You see these fans, they all showed up. I think if you robbed Clinton right now, you'd never get caught.
Welcome into Four Quarter Friday. It is Friday, September the 5th, the year of our Lord 2025. If that doesn't get you fired up, I mean, I got a friend that said if that doesn't get your wood burning, it's wet. What an intro. I'm ready to go. Spot the ball. Let's play. Head coach of the Clinton Red Devils, defending state champions, Coach Corey Fountain, joins us to lead off the program. I'm Justin Hall. He's Steve Hall. We're here on the Chief Sports Network. Reminder, the preview show starts at 10 o'clock. We're here with Coach right now, talking about a big game tonight at home against a rival in Newberry. Coach, how you doing? Have you calmed down from that moment in the locker room about a year ago?
Actually, that moment is a blur. If I didn't see that speech ever so often, I forgot even what I said in it. I forgot it the moment afterwards. That game seems like a blur because in high school football, college football, it's a year-round. It's a year-round adventure, and we start working for the next year and preparing for the next year as soon as January rolls around. So excited about the game tonight. A really good Newberry football team, electric on offense, really solid on defense, and it's going to be a really tough game for our guys tonight.
Coach, you're looking at a team in Newberry that this is the 99th meeting between you guys, so it's just pretty incredible the length of time you guys have been playing. And in fact, Lou Bezjak has the note for this game that their first game in school history was against you guys at Clinton back in 1920. I wasn't around for that one. I don't think any of us were. It was pretty impressive. But you guys have a good offense yourself. You had the Lawrence Raiders last week. You put up 461 yards of offense. The notable name for you guys as an NC State commit is on the offensive line with Trey Aiken. But give us a look into this game. What are you guys looking to do tonight? In what ways are you going to need to execute to get a W against Newberry?
Yeah, I think we're still finding our way on offense. We got a lot of new faces on the offense. So each week we just got to stack better days and execute. In the first game against Woodruff this year, we didn't really execute. We didn't get it done. Our defense really set the tone in the last two games, and our offense was able to get some drives going. And in drives, we were fortunate enough not to have to punt last week. That's not probably going to be the case this week with the solid team that Newberry brings in. I really feel like a top 3A team in the state who will probably contend for a state title this year.
Coach Fountain, thanks for joining us. What does Newberry like doing on offense? What do they like to do on defense based on y'all's prep for this week's game?
Yeah, so they're air raid. They got really big offensive line who does a great job of protecting their quarterback, Caldwell. And when they don't protect him, he can run. Electric with his legs. He can make all the throws down the field, does a great job with his reads and his keys. Our defense is going to really be challenged tonight.
You mentioned their offense being an air raid, Coach. You look at Kenton Caldwell, who put up numbers last week, and you said your defense has set the tone the last couple of weeks. What does your defense need to do to set the tone against that air raid offense and try to – I don't know if you can completely shut him down. I know you'd like to, right, and that'd be a good night for the Red Devils. But what do you have to do to mitigate his play and give your guys an opportunity?
Well, he gets about 7 yards deep, so he kind of nullifies your blitz game. We're going to have to get rush with our 4-down linemen and be able to play coverage, be able to play really good coverage and contain him. You one guy gets through, he's going to make that guy miss, and then, he's just as dangerous with his legs. So we've got to just play assignment football, fly around to the football, Our secondary's got to play really well. Our defensive linemen up front, and then linebackers have to really key on their read keys.
Coach, you all obviously have a lot of special kids in your program, not to mention, Javen Cook at running back, Trey Aiken, who's going to NC State, playing up front for you guys, but Luke Young kind of being that two-way player for you, linebacker and tight end. Tell us kind of what Luke is going to have to help y'all do on defense tonight.
So actually, we don't have Luke this year. Luke ended up just choosing baseball, huge baseball prospect, really good baseball player, played with the P27s over the summer. And he's focusing on baseball, but Jaden Glenn has moved from defensive end, where we moved him last year, to linebacker. And he's been, and he's a senior. So he's really been a great leader as a linebacker, making sure everybody lines up the way they need to line up and making big plays. He's had an interception in each of the last 2 games, a lot of tackles, and just his leadership on the linebacker crew has been invaluable in the preseason and the first 2 games.
Brandon, that's why we bring the coaches on to help us know your team better. And as my banner says, Nick Saban ain't coming to save me in the analyst position today.
Coach Brandon mentions in the chat that Clennon's also celebrating the 50th anniversary of that 1975 state championship team, and you guys are defending state champions. Obviously, I don't know how much you put into that, because every season's a new season, and really every week is a new week for you guys. You mentioned that unfortunate start to get to 0-1. You guys are going to be in region play very soon. As you guys wrap up that non-region slate here over the next couple of weeks, what's the message to the locker room?
The message is we're trying to stack good days. We're trying to stack good practices Sunday through Thursday and preparing each week. We want to try to get better. If you're peaking right now, you're in trouble anyway. So we want to peak when it's playoff time, and our guys just need to get better each and every week. We watch a lot of film and try to make improvements and adjustments where we need to, whether it's personnel or pretty much schematically, we stay pretty much the same so that our guys can play fast and physical.
That's Coach Corey Fountain of the Clinton Red Devils, defending state champs. They got Newberry at home tonight in a rivalry matchup. Coach, best of luck. We got a lot of games to run through in the upstate because, man, all of our schools tend to be in the upstate and the low country. But we appreciate your time and look forward to having you back real soon.
Thank you. Go Big Red.
Thanks, Coach.
That's Coach Corey Fountain of the Clinton Red Devils. Steve, I could talk to him all day. He had me ready to run through a brick wall at 9 a.m., so that says a lot. Let's look at these games in the upstate because we got a lot of good ones tonight. And there's one I want to mention outside of Clinton and Newberry. Berea hosts Carolina tonight. Both teams 0-1. Blue Ridge will host Polk County. Boiling Springs hosts Chapman. Panthers off to an 0-2 start there. Buford, the Yellow Jackets, hosting the Highland School of Technology. Catawba Ridge is hosting Chester. Riverside travels to take on Christ Church. And we just mentioned Newberry traveling to take on Clinton. The Patriots of J.L. Mann are 0-2. Trying to get back on track against the Daniel Lions on the road. Dixie is hosting Southside. And here's the game I wanted to mention for everyone. Greenwood is at Dorman. Both teams are 2-0. But I shared this stat with Steve before we came on the air. Folks, Greenwood's defense might be legit. Now, they beat Beaufort last week 48-8. That tells me a lot right there. But what I will tell you is Beaufort ran 49 plays and gained 52 yards. They ran 49 plays and gained 52 yards. And they didn't score until 19 seconds remaining in the game. Greenwood statistician tells me that before that drive, they were at negative 19 total yards. I don't know what Dorman is. Dorman seems to be improved offensively and defensively over last season. They're a top 10 program in the state. So is Greenwood. This is going to be a defining game early in the season for these two programs.
Yeah, man, this thing is shaping up to be just one of the best games of the year, hopefully, for both teams. Last year, Dorman won 20-14, and I know both teams seem like they're also improved this year and really stacked with a lot of talent on the field. Seeing Chris Liner and, the local newspaper being interviewed, and he's fully anticipating this to be just a knockdown, drag out. They're very much improved up front. They got a new offensive play caller this year, and their defense is playing really well, just as Greenwood's is. And I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah. Wade Hampton Generals of the Upstate will travel to take on Easley tonight. Woodruff is on the road at Emerald. I just saw in the chat as well. Who does he? Roger is going to be at that one. He's going to be at Woodruff at Emerald. Aiden Gibson last week, before traveling to Atlanta to see the Gamecocks defeat the Virginia Tech Hokies, 19 carries for 113 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 receptions for 85 yards and a touchdown. So 4 total touchdowns for Aiden Gibson last week. Let's keep moving here. Malden is at Fountain Inn. The Fury will host the Malden Mavericks. Gaffney is at Greenville. Greer is at Hillcrest. Andrew Jackson goes to Indianland. Indianland 2-0 on the season to start. Be interesting to see if they can keep it going. BHP is at Lawrence. The Wilkes of Washington go over to McCormick. Both teams 0-2/0-3, depending on which side you're looking at. St. Joseph's Catholic is at Mountain View Prep. The Devil Dogs of Travelers Rest will go to take on Palmetto. Woodmont is at Pendleton. Liberty is at Pickens. The Powdersville Patriots. How about the Powdersville Patriots last week taking care of Abbeville? I mean, that pretty impressive stuff over there. They have Wren tonight. The Golden Hurricanes are 2-0. That's going to be a big matchup. Lancaster is at Rock Hill. West Charlotte will travel down to take on South Point. South Point 1-1 to start the year. The AC Flora Falcons, the Fighting Tommy Moody's, will travel to the Upstate to take on Southside Christian. Broome is at Spartanburg. Spartanburg 0-2 to start the year. They've had a rough slate to start. Very difficult opening schedule. They want to get on track here. Chesney is at Walhalla. Walhalla 0-2. They're hosting that game to try to get to 1-2 on the season. The Cardinals of Landrum go to Ware Shoals. They're both teams 2-0. The Bobcats of Seneca take on West Oak. T.L. Hanna is 0-1. They travel to West Side to take on a Cutter Woods list West Side Rams. And then Union is at York. Both teams 0-2, trying to get to win number 1 on the year. If you missed our conversation with Coach Corey Fountain of the Clinton Red Devils, just go back and listen to that a little bit later. Once the show's over, you're not going to want to miss it. We'll come back quarter number 2. We head down to the Low Country right here on 4 Quarter Friday.
Football season. The Barn Dominium Company wants to help you build your dream home with your dream space to watch the games and entertain your friends and family. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com for floor plans, photo galleries, locations, and to learn more about us.
Oh man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. RestoProsMidlandsSC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Check the statewide high school scoreboard every Friday night on the Chief Sports app.
This is 4 Quarter Friday, hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall. taking a deep dive into high school athletics in South Carolina every Friday morning. Part of the Chiefs Sports Network.
Welcome back into Four Quarter Friday, quarter number 2. If you're going to be at a game tonight, let us know. Justin Hall, Steve Hall with you on a Friday morning. We're getting ready to hit the low country, but if you got a game you're going to be at tonight, drop that in. If you're going to be at a game, if you're not going to be at a game, download the Chief Sports app. The scoreboard's there. You can follow every game all night long on the scoreboard, and you can pull it up right on your mobile device. It's very easy. A couple clicks of a button. If you aren't sure how to do it, find a what is it, Gen Z? Is that the new thing? I don't know what generation it is. But we got the low country to look at right now, Steve, and we start with a game that was played last night. Wando hosted Ashley Ridge. JB told me yesterday on Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, that Wando would win 70-0. Well, that did not happen. Ashley Ridge took care of Wando last night, 24-0. At Wando. So Wando falls to 2-1. Ashley Ridge moves to 2-1 on the year. Great Falls is at Allendale Fairfax tonight. Both teams 0-2, looking to get win number 1. Carver's Bay is at Andrews. Both teams undefeated there. Another matchup of undefeateds. The Warhorses of Barnwell take on the Bamberg Earhart Red Raiders. Both teams 2-0. Northside Christian is at Baptist Hill tonight. Man, let me just say this. I'm in the Midlands, and I've never seen W.J. Keenan travel as much as they have in non-region play this year. They were in the upstate last week. They're in the low country this week. W.J. Keenan is at Battery Creek tonight. The Iron Horses of Philip Simmons go to Beaufort to take on the Eagles of Beaufort. And Beaufort, we mentioned that lost to Greenwood last week. They're going to have to try to right the ship offensively and defensively. They also gave up 48 points last week, so they got a lot of work to do there. The Hawks of Hanahan are going to be traveling over to Bishop, England to take on the Battling Bishops of Bishop, England. They're 1-0 on the year. 96 will go to Blackville Hilda. Both teams 0-2, looking for win number 1 this season. Savannah Country Day is at the Bluffton Bobcats tonight. Bluffton trying to stay undefeated. Williston Elko is at Branchville. Both teams 0-2, trying to get win number 1 on the year. Denmark, Oler, and Burke, both teams winless, trying to get win number 1 this season. Edisto is at Calhoun County. The Saints start the year 0-2. Edisto is off to a 1-1 start. West Ashley is at Cane Bay. St. James is at Lucy Beckham. The Raptors of Academic Magnet will head over to Stall to take on Stall. Colleton County hosts Lower Richland. That's not a far drive, by the way, for Lower Richland. That's considered low country on this show, but Colleton County's not a far drive from Lower Richland. Timberland is at Cross. There's a game of the week nominee in the low country. That's a game that Cross looks really good early. So does Timberland. Both teams 2-0. A game to watch tonight. If you're keeping up with the scoreboard, you're going to want to keep an eye on that one. James Island is at Goose Creek. James Island, we talked to James Island earlier this year in the preview show, right, Steve? And they're off to another very good start. Again, they haven't won less than 10 games in, what is it now, 2 or 3 years. And again, when you can roll through your non-region slate, as they appear to be doing right now, and as some of these teams are doing, you set yourself up well for region play to be able to not necessarily buy yourself a few losses, but certainly position yourself well for that win total at the end of the year.
Yeah, expect them to go 3-0 this week as well. I say I don't make predictions, but and the reason I don't like making predictions is, like, I have no idea what that score is going to be. I'm not going to make a score prediction, but I do expect James Island to continue strong.
I do as well. Silver Bluff is at Hampton County. Hampton County's off to a 2-0 start. They're trying to get it to 3-0 over Silver Bluff. East Clarendon is at Hardyville. The Hurricanes are 1-1 on the year, but they're going to be undefeated forever once they get that monstrous gas station down there. Georgetown is at Johnsonville. Georgetown is 0-2. While Johnsonville is 2-0. Where's Lance in the chat when you need him? The Flashes are undefeated, 2-0, looking to get to 3-0 tonight.
And Justin, there's a lot of King Cribs involved in this little game right here. You got the former Georgetown head coach of King Crib leading the Flashes to go down and play the Bulldogs. and they have a king crib themselves, the athletic director now and former head coach of Georgetown and Bluffton.
That's a lot of kin crib. That's a lot.
Yeah.
The kin crib bowl, if you will. Savannah Christian is at Oceanside Collegiate. And Oceanside Collegiate has not started off the season wonderfully. Now, again, they opened the season with Irmo. And Irmo might be one of the best teams in the state, and they found their quarterback. We'll get to that here in a little while. Whale Branch is at Ridgeland. First Baptist goes to St. John's. The Fort Dorchester Patriots are 2-0, but they go to Stratford tonight. The Knights are 1-1. Bethune-Bowman is at Woodland. Bethune-Bowman trying to get win number 1 on the year. They're 0-2. And here's another great game for you. Berkeley at Somerville. And Somerville's 1-1. 1-1 because of the quarterback that we'll be talking to in just a moment. And that team. Let me be careful. Drew Marlowe is going to come after me if I don't say that. Somerville is a very good football team, but they've had a difficult slate to open up the season. It'll continue, by the way. I've looked at their schedule a couple of times. It's pretty daunting. But you get a Berkeley team that's 2-0, had a win over an out-of-state competition last week, and a team from Florida. The Stags are feeling good about themselves, Steve, heading into week number 3.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at kind of how things are shaking out so far this season, we know Irmo's going to be up there in Division II. They started very well again. I still like Irmo a lot, but Berkeley is looking like, could they be the team to beat to come out of the lower state this year in 5A Division II? My money is kind of on them right now. They've grown a lot. They have a lot of experience, and Henry Rivers is leading that team well. And they got another tough one tonight. And I know these two teams don't necessarily like each other, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
No, they don't particularly. And anytime and this is not. I want to make sure folks know I'm not riding the coattails of Somerville by any stretch. But when a team goes down and beats Somerville, it's a big deal. I mean, it just is what it is. Somerville reestablished themselves last season in that undefeated run to a state championship appearance before getting defeated by Dutch Fort. But this is a game, again, Steve, you mentioned it. Berkeley's that team that's lurking down there in the bottom of the top 10, so to speak, in the media poll. And again, the media poll is the media poll. But we have 5A still split into 2 divisions. And so they aren't going to have to contend with some other teams, even within their own region of the state. Some of those teams will be Division I. Some of them will be Division II. It's a really weird breakup, and I'm glad we're getting rid of it, if I can be quite honest with you. But that's a significant matchup, and one that if I'm looking at the rankings here, that's a top 10 matchup in 5A, and there's going to be movement in the top 10. By the way, if I can just really quickly, I guess I'm the resident media poll guy. Before we get Messiah Jackson in here in just a bit, if you haven't seen the rankings this week, I'll gladly refresh you. In Class 5A, Dutch Fork is the number 1 team in 5A with 17 first place votes. They looked really good last week. Really good. So they get 17 first place votes. Northwestern comes in with the other first place vote. They're 2-0. Irmo is 3. Gaffney sits at number 4. Greenwood, there's the Greenwood Eagles at 1-0, sitting at number 5. Somerville is 6. Dorman is at 7. Burns 8. Burns is a really good football team, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there. A lot of miscues last week against Irmo, and they still lost only by 3. Again, if you just give me the readout of the stats before the game and tell me all the things that would happen to Burns in that game, I would have ridden Irmo by 20. Burns is a good football team. James Island is at 9. Berkeley is at 10. Just to note, Ridgeview, White Knoll, Sumter, Spartanburg, and Carolina Forest are receiving votes in 5A. So just in 5A, Steve, tonight. Again, you look at this scheduling, that's a really sleepy week of high school football. We got 2 top 10 matchups just in 5A.
Yeah, and we'll get to this game a little bit later in the fourth quarter when we hit the Midlands. But Ridgeview playing Dutch Fork, and Ridgeview lost their starting quarterback Trey Howard last week for the season to a dislocated foot, which actually I hadn't never heard of that before. Maybe that means dislocated ankle. I'm not really sure. I'm not a doctor, but to see Ridgeview go up to Northwestern, lose their starting quarterback in the first quarter, and only lose by 7, I mean, man,
Yeah.
in years past, they've had struggles keeping it close against those traditional powers. It's going to be exciting to see where Ridgeview takes this team, and where Coach Howard is leading these young men. And we wish nothing but the best, but to Trey Howard and get well soon, and come back stronger than ever.
Absolutely. In Class 4A, this is a game that we'll mention here in quarter number 3. It's not a top 10 matchup within the classifications, but number 1, South Florence in 4A is going to go take on number 2, or is going to host number 2 in 5A Northwestern. We'll talk about that in a minute. South Florence is number 1, followed by South Point. South Florence, again, 17 first place votes. South Point with 1. North Augusta comes in at number 3. They open up region play this week. That region is grossly too large. AC Flora is number 4. Watch out for AC Flora this year. I really like that offense with Ripper Winsky. We'll talk about them later. We'll talk about Camden later as well. They're at number 5. Bishop England is 6, followed by Westside, Seneca, Hartsville, and Kellytown. We'll talk about Kellytown in just a little bit. Daniel coming in at number 10. Midland Valley, Bluffton, Wren, and Crestwood getting votes. In 3A, BHP is number 1, followed by Woodruff, Dillon, Mountain View Prep, and Loris, rounding out the top 5. Oceanside Collegiate is 6, Newberry 7. Orangeburg, Wilkinson 8, Marlboro County, and Powdersville rounding out the top 10. Only one other team in 3A receiving votes, and that is Swansea. In 2A, Clinton is number 1, followed by Batesburg, Leesville, Hampton County, Barnwell, and Strom-Thurmond at 5. There's a tie at number 6 between Fairfield Central and Sherrall. Central is 8, Chester 9, Saluda is number 10. And in Class 5A, Cross is the number 1 team in 1A with 11 first-place votes. Abbeville is second with 6 first-place votes. Lakeview has a vote for first place there at number 3. Bamberg Earhart 4, followed by Louisville to round out the top 5. Johnsonville, Lamar, the Fighting Tommy Suggs. Latta is at 8. Hunter Kinder Tyler is at 9. Ware Shoals is at 10. Carvers Bay, Baptist Hill, and Whitmire all receiving votes in this week's media poll. So again, when you look at the media polls, you go, oh, wow, we got some games here this week that are big-time football games. And we'll talk about all those. We'll talk about the PD in quarter number 3. But joining us after the break, the quarterback of the South Florence Bruins, Messiah Jackson, joins us on 4 Quarter Friday.
Palm Casual Outdoor Patio Furniture proudly supports high school athletics across South Carolina. If it's time to make your outdoor space the best it can be, with lifetime warranties and guarantees, visit one of our Palm Casual stores in Myrtle Beach, Bluffton, Somerville, or Mount Pleasant. PalmCasual.com. PalmCasual.com. Turn on the lights. It's Friday night.
At Moultrie Insurance, our agents are working for you. Our commercial lines of coverage are well-sourced and intimately chosen. We offer commercial lines of coverage such as business owners, umbrella, property, auto, or general liability coverage, and evaluate every option to find what fits you best. Like a good offensive coordinator, we will draw up the plays, but only run with what you feel comfortable. Get in touch with our quarterback, Perry Orth, or our head coach, Frank, by visiting MoultrieINS.com. MoultrieINS.com.
It's the 4 Quarter Friday High School Show on the Chiefs Sports Network. Proudly covering high school athletics across the state of South Carolina. With accurate, trusted analysis, in-depth interviews with coaches, media, and players, and quality information. Hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall. Now back to the show. Here's Justin and Steve.
Welcome back into 4 Quarter Friday. Justin Hall and Steve Hall with you. We're glad you're with us on a Friday morning. A lot of big-time action, and we're joined by Messiah Jackson, the starting quarterback of the South Florence Bruins. First of all, Messiah, congratulations. You're the first player to join us on the program. So
Thank you.
Kudos to that. We're going to put your name on the wall back here. I don't know if I talked with you last Friday night after the game was over. And first of all, I was impressed by just how you talked about the game itself last week and that win over Somerville. But for those who don't know, you guys had a drive at the end of the ball game to take the lead and get that win on a tough road environment. Talk about that offensive huddle before that drive gets started. You guys are on the road. It's Somerville,
yeah,
but you're South Florence. Talk about that huddle before that drive starts.
So before we even get to the huddle, of course, we go to Somerville. They have a hostile home environment. They love football down in Somerville. That's just their culture. That's things they love to do. So going into it, we knew the final drive, like, let it get to the final drive. We knew it was going to be difficult. We knew it was going to be loud. The band playing, the student section, screaming and stuff like that. But the main things that Marlo was just telling us was to be calm, stay poised, and to just execute the things that we normally do in practice, because the things that we do in practice is what directly translates to the game. And we were able to go out there and do that.
And your stretch of games in non-region play is, quite frankly, borderline illegal in many areas. And we asked Coach about that a couple weeks ago in the preview show. You guys only play 3 home games this season, and the opponents in those home games are not exactly easy. No opponent's easy, but it's not a game where you go, yeah, we match up well. You got Northwestern tonight, and coming off of an emotional win on the road against Somerville, what's practice been like this week for you guys as you prepare for the number 2 team in 5A?
Going into this week, it's really been the same as any other week. We're not treating it like any other like big game. We're not treating it like a big game because every game to us is big. We know we're circled on everybody's schedule, so to us, every game is big. So whenever we're practicing with the intent to win every single game. So we're not just practicing to win this game, but we're practicing to win in December.
And Messiah, just looking back to last week, analyze your own performance, right? I would say that probably most players, especially starting quarterbacks at any level, are your own biggest critic. So analyze your performance for us. What did you see out there? What are you trying to improve on as a passer and as a quarterback this week?
Of course, Somerville, they were a quarters team. So going into that game, we knew if we had number 2 coming down into the box, the free safety, that we could hit a post over the top. And Jayon, one of our big body receivers, number 1, he was able to catch a couple posts on him, and he was able to, seal the deal and catch a fade in the end zone. But going to Northwestern, we know that their secondary is really their strong suit, and they love to play man up there. So that's going to be exciting to see the matchups that we're going to be able to create.
And when you're looking across the field and you've game planned and you've prepped for a week, because all the talk around here has been about a former South Florence quarterback who hit a post to another alien on Sunday against Virginia Tech. And the talk of that was they practiced that play and they just need Norris to hit the post. When you're on the field and you see the defense do what you think they're going to do, right? You see that safety play up in that case, or you see the look that you're expecting. What goes through your mind before you let that ball go, knowing if we do it right, we got 6?
I wouldn't say it's autopilot, but I would say you prepared for that moment all week, and you've been in, games, big games like this before. You just let the game come to you, and you don't try to force anything. And whenever you see, a wide open guy, you don't get too excited, but you just, just trust what you can do, trust what you've been putting in the work that you've been doing at practice, and just believing in the things that you've been doing.
And you guys, go ahead.
No, yeah, Messiah. Just what is the key tonight for you on you and the offense, and how y'all are going to be able to execute against a really, as you said, like a great Northwestern defense?
The main focus this week is not shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties and flags, because as y'all seen last week against Somerville, we had so many flags whenever we got into the red zone, and it's really hard to operate on 3rd and 30 and 1st and 30. There's not really much you can drop, and whenever you're losing yards like that. So that's really going to be the main focus tonight, to stay disciplined, stay focused, not get false starts. Just stuff like that.
Messiah, you're looking. I mentioned this earlier. I hate it for your guys, isn't scheduling wise. You're obviously going to be well traveled by the end of the year, but to only have 3 home games, and your home opener is a big deal, right? So just looking at it, you're going to have your home opener, your homecoming, and your senior night. That's your 3 home games. What are you hoping to see from the fans tonight as you guys open against a top-notch Northwestern team, and what kind of show are you looking to put on for them over there at South Florence?
Our fans always pack out the stadium. We love our fans. They do a great job, cheering for us and stuff like that. Florence is really like a tight-knit community. I feel like everybody loves each other, trusts each other. I really love it here in Florence. And for anybody traveling, from maybe like upstate or Myrtle Beach or Charleston coming to our game, it's going to be a great environment to be in.
Quarterback Messiah Jackson of the South Florence Bruins. Messiah, appreciate you coming on. Really enjoyed chatting with you last Friday night, and knew we needed to get you in here to talk about that Summerville drive against Summerville to win that ball game. And then obviously you guys have a big one tonight against Paige Wolford and that Northwestern Trojans team. Give our best to Coach Marlowe. Give our best to your team. We look forward to tracking this game all night long. It's going to be one of the games in the state. We're looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Messiah, one last thing, buddy. Who do you want to give a shout out to from your team? I know you have a awesome O-line that you depend on and that does a really good job for you. So why don't you give us some shout outs for some of your teammates?
Of course. Well, first I like to shout out my O-line. They do a great job every week. That's really where it starts. That's where our offense starts, the O-line. I want to give a shout out to the running backs, Cameron James and Gabe McLaughlin. They've been doing a great job making plays and setting up the pass for us. Jayon, number 1, Jayon Perkins, he's been being a dog recently. Malik Robinson doing a great job blocking and setting us up. Samaj Parker, he's been a great playmaker for us. He's a young kid, but he's definitely going to grow into his shoes, and he's been doing a great job for us making plays. And on defense, Amari Reeves, he had 2 big picks last week that were able to set us up to be able to go down there and score and win the game ultimately. And Terry Gordon, of course, he's one of our linebackers, number 10, and he's able to, make sacks whenever we need them the most, and just seal the game whenever we need it.
Thanks, Messiah. Good luck tonight.
Thank you. I'll have a good one.
Dude, that's Messiah Jackson, starting quarterback for the South Florence Bruins. Full disclosure, talked with him last Friday night, and producer on that show and I looked at each other through the glass and went, whoa. I mean, there's something about Drew Marlowe quarterbacks that they just sound the part. You know what I mean? They say the right things, they do the right things, and it shows on the field. I'll put it that way. It just shows on the field. Let's stay in the PD for quarter number 3. We got a lot of games across the state, and we got 2 really big ones, and we'll go back to that South Florence one here in just a minute. The Armada of Atlantic Collegiate host Louisville tonight. Lamar, the Silver Foxes, the Fighting Tommy Suggses, go to Central. They are 1-0, and the Silver Foxes are 1-1. Conway, 0-2. They are at Sherrall tonight. The Braves are 1-1. Chesterfield hosts Lee Central tonight, and here we go. Rivalry game. Camden, 2-0. Camden looks really good. Camden might be one of the best teams in the state. They go on the road to Kellytown to take on the Red Foxes of Hartsville. Hartsville did not have a good start to their season last week. But this is another rivalry game, Steve. And when we get to rivalry games this early in the season, 2 wild fan bases that love their high school football and 2 big-time football towns, Camden and Hartsville, should be a knockdown, drag-out. I'd say that. Should be an offensive fireworks show tonight.
Yeah, there's probably not a better place to watch a football game is Kellytown. Hartsville, I know, wanted better results last week, but they had, a tough week 1 opponent. That was their first game. So I'm sure there's some things they were looking at cleaning up this week. But Camden's coming in with a very big offensive line, a really good quarterback in Rimpf, and they got skill guys all over the place as well. So, that'll be good to see for a test for the rest for region play for Hartsville and Camden as well.
No kidding. And I think that's the thing, that these teams are willing to test themselves early in the non-region slate. You're seeing that with South Florence. You're seeing it with Camden. You're seeing it with Brooklyn Casey. You're seeing it with White Knoll and a bunch of other teams. willing to put yourself out there, so to speak, and try to see what you get heading into region play. And this is a game that you're going to find out what you got. Again, playoff positioning is totally based in region play, the way it's currently constructed. So you can take some losses to find out who you are. Crestwood goes to Kingstree tonight. Crestwood's 2-0, off to a really good start. We talked about that before the show. Crestwood off to a really good start at 2-0. May River is at Lake City tonight. The Lake Marion Gators take on the Monarchs of Manning on the road. Monarchs are 0-2, trying to get win number 1. The West Florence Knights are 0-2. They will travel to take on the Swamp Foxes of Marion, who are also 0-2. A lot of teams trying to get win number 1 this week. Gray Collegiate is on the road at Marlboro County. Gray Collegiate trying to get win number 1 on the season. These two teams have never played. This is their first meeting all time. Gray Collegiate had a bye last week after one game. Unfortunate for them. They have a bye and they lost their opener to James Island. But Michael Boulware had 18 tackles in game number 1 against James Island. And Myjay McCoy with Marlboro County has 20 tackles. Marlboro has, how about this, Steve? You'll like this stat. Thanks, Uncle Lou Bajak. Marlboro County has 12 rushing touchdowns this season. They have no passing touchdowns.
I think we know what they want to do.
I think they want to run the ball. Now, yeah. I could be unsure of that, but they're number 9 in Class 3A rankings this week. Should be a great matchup tonight between Gray Collegiate and Marlboro County. Latta, the Vikings are 2-0. They travel to McBee to take on the McBee Panthers, the Fighting Rick Henrys, as I like to call them. Green Sea Floyds is at Mullins, both teams winless. The Auctioneers, home of Xavier Leggett, who gets his season started with the Carolina Panthers this weekend. The Gamecocks of Sumter are 1-1. They took a loss last week to White Knoll. I was a bit shocked by that. White Knoll came in banged up, had some injuries that they were nursing. Some guys weren't going to be, if they were going to play, they weren't going to be at full speed, 100%. And I have that on very good authority. And I was sitting with somebody from that school when we were going over those scores and watching those scores accumulate, and a little shocking that White Knoll was able to go on the road and take down Sumter. But Sumter's going to Myrtle Beach tonight. Myrtle Beach is 2-0. Another great test for both teams. I think that's going to be a really good matchup as we get to the third and fourth quarter tonight. The North Myrtle Beach Chiefs are 1-1. They will host West Brunswick out of Georgia tonight. Aner is at Socastee. Aner 1-1. The Braves of Socastee 0-2. And then we talked about this game with Messiah, but we'll talk about it briefly right here. The Trojans of Northwestern are 2-0. And they will go to South Florence to take on the Bruins of South Florence, who are also 2-0. One of South Florence's 3 home games takes place tonight on September the 5th. I know we're not into making predictions on this show. I don't know if I'd want to make a prediction about this game. I'm extremely excited to see these two offenses go after it. I loved how Messiah broke down the game and broke down what he's looking for in that defense, what he saw last week on tape from Somerville and how that played out. This should be a great game. I'm not going to say it's going to be a defensive struggle. I'm not going to say it's going to be an offensive fireworks show, but this has got the makings to be maybe not just the game of the week, but the game of the year in South Carolina high school football.
It seems like a toss-up, doesn't it?
It does.
If there was a line, is it -2.5?
I think you do 3 for home field.
Yeah. Well, because these two teams are so good, because Northwestern's so good, I'd go under 3, just because of the home field advantage and how good both these teams are. True toss-up game. And by the way, if Bruins is still in the chat, we need a link, a streaming link. If you can get that to us, that would be awesome.
For sure.
Yeah, like I have to catch that game. I'll personally be at the Abbeville Batesburg game this evening because I can't pass up a chance to travel about 15-20 minutes down the road and see that epic game. And we'll get to that later. But Justin, what do you see happening? I mean, I see, as far as South Florence Northwestern go, both of these teams are playing very good complementary football. I see a defensive struggle here, in week 3.
I'm leaning that way, but both of these offenses are also really, really talented, and they got skill positions, and they got the quarterbacks they need to operate their systems. I don't want to say defensive struggle, but I think a score in the upper 20s for both teams. So you set the over-under at 56. Don't do over-unders in high school football or lines or anything like that. We've done that now twice in this segment, but just don't worry about it. It should be a really good matchup, though. I'm really excited about this game. I've been looking forward to this one for quite some time. Since we talked to Coach Marlowe and I saw Northwestern was their home opener. Northwestern's a very good football team. They won a state championship last year. So I cannot believe that I'm saying, yeah, that 4A team's got an opportunity to go up there or to host them and beat them, but they really do. And it should be a great game tonight between the Bruins and the Trojans. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Quarter number 4 is on the way. We look at the Midlands next on 4 Quarter Friday.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cars while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
Welcome to Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions. Basement crawl space encapsulation designed for your specific needs. Your crawl space can be susceptible to all sorts of issues, including moisture buildup, mold growth, and structural damage if not cared for properly. Let our trained experts provide basement crawl space encapsulation solutions to protect your home, improve air quality, and enhance energy efficiency. Schedule your consultation today for a safer, healthier space at dryspacecs.com.
Do your wood floors need a touch-up? Visit recoatrevolution.com in South Carolina today. From the Low Country to the Upstate, from the Midlands to the PD, we've got you covered. This is our state. South Carolina matters to us. All of South Carolina. We love talking ball, and we love talking ball with you. Thank you for tuning in to the 4 Quarter Friday High School Show. Every Friday at 9 a.m. on the Chief Sports Network. Now, back to Justin and Steve.
Welcome back to 4 Quarter Friday. Justin Hall, Steve Hall with you on a Friday morning as we wrap up yet another episode of 4 Quarter Friday. I want to remind you, download the Chief Sports app. There you can follow the scoreboard of every single high school football game in the state. And if you didn't do the Fab Five yesterday, you still got an opportunity to do that before it closes out. Make sure you do that. If I win, I hear that I am not allowed to get the prize. So you can finish second and still win. So congratulations on that. And make sure to stay tuned to the Chief Sports Network and just slide over to that YouTube stream at 10 o'clock for the preview show. Folks, I'm telling you, last week we finished up here and I immediately just started listening to that. And I'm not tooting our own horn, but I'm telling you, I love that we lead into that show. That is bona fide programming to get you ready for a Gamecock football weekend. And it's going to happen within the next day, not 2 days after. So make sure to tune into that JB, Phil, JC, and a cavalcade of guests. That's your word of the day, folks. Cavalcade of guests. Join them on the preview show. Let's hit the Midlands while we got a little bit of time left. And we start in Aiken. How about this, Steve? The Fighting Green Hornets of Aiken are 2-0 on the season, and they host the Seahawks of Hilton Head. Aiken, man, solid football team. They dispatched of the Airport Eagles last week. I don't like to mention that, but they did. And that was a region game for them. I'm just going to put that out there. That region with Airport and Aiken and South Aiken and North Augusta and Midland Valley and Brooklyn Casey and Gilbert and Gray, way too big. Way too big. And we shouldn't be playing region games this early in the season. Anyway, Fort Mill goes to Blythewood. I'll come back to my games of the week at the end. Fort Mill is at Blythewood tonight. Blythewood 1-1 after an 0-1 start, trying to rebound here. Or excuse me, a 1-0 start they lost last week. Fairfield Central is at C.A. Johnson. The Vikings of Spring Valley go to Chapin. Another opportunity for Spring Valley to get a win because I do not think Chapin is very good this year. I'm just going to be very, very positive about that. Offensively, they lost a lot, and it's going to take some time for them to get rolling. And you're hitting them early in the year. I like Spring Valley's opportunity tonight to get a win. We've mentioned Ridgeview is at Dutch Fork. Starting quarterback Trey Howard, if you missed it earlier or you missed it throughout this week, starting quarterback for Ridgeview, Trey Howard, is out for the season with a dislocated foot. But the Blazers are going to try to go on the road. They're going to drive over to Dutch Fork and try to get a win tonight. Glen Hills is at Fox Creek. Butler out of North Carolina goes to Irmo. Irmo, the Yellow Jackets have found their quarterback in Dre Dobson, my friends. He is the real deal. Greenwood Christian goes to Eau Claire. Eau Claire, the Shamrocks, are 2-0. And if you are in the Midlands, that's shocking. I don't care who they played. Eau Claire is 2-0. Midland Valley is 2. Lexington 1-1 on the season. Steve, you.
Yeah, so I guess I think we lost Justin real briefly, but Lexington Midland Valley is going to be a great game. I mean, Midland Valley has been throwing the ball all over the place. Starting quarterback for Midland Valley has nearly 769 yards passing and 6 touchdowns in 2 games. And so we are, going to see if they can keep it going against a Lexington team that has started off the season a little rocky in the first week, but came back, or actually first week, they beat Gilbert in Gilbert America. And in the last week's game against North Augusta brought a very good offensive team and defensive team and very big up front. They got a offensive lineman that's being recruited by nearly everybody. And so we are kind of looking at, we'll see what's going to happen in a Wildcat Hollow tonight. Next, we got the Lugolf Elgin Demon Deacons, or not the Demon Deacons, the Demons, hosting the 2-0 Darlington Falcons. Dreer is hosting Lakewood, and we have 2 former Gamecock head coaches, or 2 former Gamecocks, the head coaches of both squads, Corey Jenkins at Dreer and Willie Alford at Lakewood. At the next game, we have Mid-Carolina Rebels are hosting Whitmire. The North Central Knights will be hosting the Columbia Capitals, and they have started off 1-1.
I like Columbia, by the way. Happy to be back. I don't know what just happened. The Gremlins got me on a Friday morning. I was like, I can hear you. Yeah, I like the Capitals. I like that defense, by the way. I don't know if they nip North Central tonight, but they got an opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
I really like the Capitals this year in that region.
Moving further into the Midlands, we got the Wagner Sally War Eagles hosting the Swansea Tigers, and the former head coach of the Wagner Sally Eagles, Coach Willie Fox, is going to face his former team over there in Wagner. And get this, Justin, last year, the first 2 weeks of the season for the Swansea Tigers, the score differential was 65-26. Same teams, right? Just reversed the schedule.
Yep.
This year, score differential 103-7.
That's an improvement.
Is rolling.
Yeah, that's an improvement. Swansea's got a good ball club. Swansea had a good team last year. Swansea and Batesburg-Leesville were 2 of the biggest surprises in the Midlands last year. I like the Tigers tonight on the road at Wagner Sally. Again, get there early, hit the bakery. It's right down the road. You don't want to miss it. The chocolate eclairs are amazing. But that's going to be a good game. I think that has the opportunity to be a good game. If Wagner Sally can slow Swansea's offense down just a hair, they give themselves an opportunity. But I really like the Tigers tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Fox is doing a really good job, and Swansea loves their football.
They do.
So we'll see what happens.
The Bats of Clear Dot Charter are at American Leadership. 2-0, 0-2. American Leadership trying to stay undefeated. The Fighting Jake Bentleys of Nation 4 travel down to River Bluff, right over here across I-20, to take on the Gators. That should be a fun one. Perry Parks, Jake Bentley, a little head coaching matchup for you there. North Augusta opens region play tonight. They're 2-0. They'll take on the Thoroughbreds of South Aiken. They'll just make the short drive over. The Cavaliers of Richland Northeast off to a rough start, 0-2. They go to Westwood, another rivalry game in that one. And Brooklyn Casey lost to River Bluff last week. They did not score, he says, questioningly. I don't believe they did. And Lewis Clyburn's debut. Brooklyn Casey only has 3 seniors on the entire football team. 3.
They're really young this year.
Very, very young, including a sophomore quarterback. They go on the road. When your offense is young, the recipe for success is not to face a Nick Pelham defense, but they've got to tonight. They're going to be playing right back here against White Knoll. That way is where the stadium is in location from where I am. The Timberwolves are 1-1, had a rough start to the season, but a shocking win last week over Sumter, in my opinion, gets them to 1-1. They'll try to move to 2-1 as they get closer to region play in just a few weeks. All right, let's go back up to the top. Game of the week in the Midlands is Abbeville at Batesburg-Leesville. Steve is doing God's work by going to this game in Batesburg-Leesville. I will put money on where he eats dinner. I will put good money on it. Cold, no cold, doesn't matter. You know what's good for a cold? Good barbecue. All right, this game. Batesburg-Leesville leads the all-time series 27-25-1. If we end in a tie tonight, I riot. Abbeville had a 7-game winning streak before last season's game. It was snapped in what I thought was a shocking win for Batesburg-Leesville, and ultimately, I still think that, ultimately propelled them to a great year. Batesburg-Leesville is number 2 in 2A. Abbeville is number 2 in 1A. Who boy, Reese Benke, I'm going to go with that's how you pronounce the name. Correct me in the chat if you would like. Threw for 235 yards and 4 tutties last week. And Amadre Wooden had 173 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns last week. Darius Riley is the running back for Abbeville. He leads the team with 281 rushing yards. Last year's game was 37-35. Are we seeing more offense tonight?
Yeah. These two teams are very good on offense, and I do think it will be hard for either defense to slow them down. I could see a similar scenario painting the town of Batesburg tonight, and Batesburg-Leesville, I should say, because we got to make sure Leesville is in there. I was down at the school. Yeah, exactly. I was down there last week and just talking to the athletic director, and just the excitement that is here, in still Lexington County for Batesburg-Leesville, returning a lot. Abbeville's always good. If there's guarantees in life, death, taxes, and Abbeville being good at football,
yes,
it's going to be a fun time. And as far as the facilities at Batesburg-Leesville, if you haven't been there recently, last year they opened up everything. I mean, it's kind of been a stage. You know how construction goes. It takes a while, but the facilities were unbelievable. Came at a great time. Of a great year for athletics for the Panthers. The baseball team won a state championship. I mean, if you haven't been there yet, Justin, I invite you to come there with me tonight if you weren't busy in the studio.
Can you bring me a plate? Can you bring me a plate over to downtown Columbia? No, it should be a great matchup. There are a lot of great games tonight, y'all. Everyone says, "Oh, sleepy week 3." No, this is a very good week 3, week 2. See, here's where your math becomes a problem, but I'm off that soapbox. I'm off of it. I'm not talking about it anymore. All right. Chris says defensive battle, first one to 28 wins. Is that a defensive battle? I don't know. I guess it is when those offenses are that good, Chris. I got your point on that one. Should be a great night of high school football. Enjoy it wherever you are. Download the Chief Sports app to follow every game, every score. You can do it on your phone. Let us know where you're going to be. We look forward to being with you next week. The preview show starts on Inside the Gamecocks next on the Chief Sports Network. For Steve Hall, I'm Justin Hall. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your Sunday of high school, college, and professional football this weekend. We'll see you next Friday for 4 Quarter Friday.
From the Low Country to the Upstate, from the Midlands to the PD, we've got you covered. This is our state. South Carolina matters to us, all of South Carolina. We love talking ball, and we love talking ball with you. Thank you for tuning in to the 4-Quarter Friday High School Show. Every Friday at 9 a.m. on the Chief Sports Network. Now, back to Justin and Steve.